everybody. My name is Rick. Welcome to my Idaho cabin. Hi folks. Well, the weather has really been gorpy around here for the last few days, and it's going to be for another day and a half at least. So I decided that I'm going to do some comfort food. I'm going to make some Mexican barbacoa. This is one of my favorite dishes. It's pretty versatile. You can you can eat it like a soup if you want. But I like it. It's shredded pot roast, and basically, and so I like to make tacos with it. So I'm going to show you how I make barbacoa, and hopefully that'll kind of make the day feel a little bit brighter. So here we go. Okay, the first thing we need is a pot roast. This is a small one because it's only me, Smokey and me here at the cabin, so I might invite Dan and George, Jessica and Margaret over for dinner, but anyway, this is just a small pot roast, but believe me, this'll make plenty. You can serve 4 to 6 people with this one. The first thing I'm going to do is going to cut it up just a little bit. There's a lot of hard fat in here I want to get rid of because I want to sear the meat first, and so we'll get rid of this fat, and then we'll get it in the cast iron skillet and sear it up. Okay, I've gotten the hard fat, or most of it, off of the pot roast. The reason I do that is because most of the hard fat doesn't render out, and kind of makes it nasty. So anyway, the first thing we have to do is season the pot roast on all sides, and then we're going to sear it. So just give it a good sprinkling of salt on all sides, and we'll call that good. Cast iron skillet is heating up, and Smokey is talking in the background as usual. So he promised to behave himself today. I told him I'd give him some of the meat when we're through. Anyway, so now that the beef is all salted up, just waiting for the cast iron skillet to heat up a little bit, I'll put a little oil in there, and then we're going to sear the meat. The first thing we're going to do is we hope the GoPro doesn't fall into the hot skillet. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to pour a little oil into the skillet, a couple of rounds, something like that. And then we'll kind of skitter that around. And now we'll put the meat in. Love that sound. And I'm going to put a splatter shield on top of it so that the stove kind of keeps clean. We must maintain a sanitary environment because we sure don't want the kitchen police to come around and give us a ticket. So we'll let this sear for 2 to 3 minutes and get it well browned on all sides. I'm sure you've probably heard the debates about browning meat before putting them in a crock-pot, but I happen to like to. I just think the browned meat gives it a little bit more flavor and adds something to the dish. So the meat is browned, and now we're going to take it out and put it into a crock-pot. In this case, because the size of this roast is kind of small, I'm using a 4-quart crock-pot today. And just throw it in there. And we'll get all the rest of the ingredients in there and get this thing cooking up. And then that starts the easy process, sitting around for about 6 hours or so while the meat cooks. So let me get the rest of the stuff prepared, and I'll be right back with you. Now we're going to put our spices in. Gonna mix them up. So the first thing we need is 5 chili chipotle in adobo sauce. So we'll put that in the blender. Thank you, Smokey. And then we need a couple other things here that I need to cut a half an onion. Okay, the onion goes in a little bit later, so let's get rid of this chili adobo sauce. And then we're going to put the garlic cloves. We have, and I'll have the recipe down below as always, so you'll know how much to do. Got some garlic, some bay leaves. No, we don't put the bay leaves in here. Sorry about that. Lime juice and vinegar. And so I have a half a cup of vinegar. And then, let me get the lime juice. Okay, now we have the juice from 3 limes we're going to put in here. And we have some Mexican oregano. If you have a chance to get real Mexican oregano, do it. You won't believe the difference in flavor. It's just fabulous. And a little cumin. Okay, now we're going to blend this up, and then I'm going to rinse it with some chicken broth and put it in the Crock-Pot. You didn't really need to hear that blender running, so anyway, here's the mixture all blended up. So now we're going to pour this over the meat. Let's get this out of here. Pour this over the meat, and then we're going to take 1 cup of chicken broth and put it in the blender. I know there's 1 cup in here because I used 1 cup the other day. Okay, now we'll put the top back on the blender and shake it around and rinse it out so we get all those good flavors out of there. Okay, now we'll pour that into the Crock-Pot, and we should be ready to go, except for I'm going to put 4 bay leaves up here on top, and then I'm going to put a half an onion in there. And was I covering that up? I guess not. My big stomach. Anyway, then I'll put half an onion in there. I'm going to quarter it first, and then we'll put this thing on high and cook it for about 4 to 6 hours until the meat is tender. So I'll get that going, and when the meat is tender, we'll come back. So have a good afternoon. So there's the Crock-Pot all ready to go. We'll turn it on high and let her rip. I wanted to show you these new suspenders that I just got. Aren't they pretty? Yeah. Anyway, and no, I don't use them to hold my pants up. I use them to hold up my pistol and my radio. But anyway, you wouldn't believe what the house smells like right now. It is just super gorgeous. Jessica down in San Diego, my second girlfriend, she knows all about what this stuff smells like. So you guys got to try this, man. If nothing else, just to enhance you can turn off all the Glade and all those little perfumey things that you want. Just keep one of these things going in the Crock-Pot. You'll just, not only will you eat, but you'll also, the house will just smell to it. Oh, it's just immaculate, wonderful. Anyway, so the Crock-Pot has been on most of the day, and so the next thing we have to do is pull the meat out and shred it. So if Smokey will be quiet, I'll explain you that we're going to be doing that here in just a second. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to take the meat out of the Crock-Pot, and then I'll grab a couple of forks. We'll start to shred it. I'm going to leave the onions in the Crock-Pot. We'll eventually discard them and the bay leaves, but the idea right now, it's just falling apart. The idea right now is to get this on the plate here, get it shredded. And then I'm going to put it back in the juices to kind of keep it warm until it's time for dinner. Anyway, okay, there it is. So we'll get to shredding. Okay, here we go. We're ready to shred this meat. Look at how tender it is. This falls apart. So then after I get this all shredded up, then I'm going to put it back in the juices, and we'll let it sit until it's time for dinner. And then we'll let the individual people decide whether or not they want tacos or whether they want soup. This is, oh my God, this is just falling apart tender. Oh, anyway, I'll come back when I get it all shredded. Okay, there it is, all shredded, ready to go. That was about a 3-pound roast, and there's probably enough meat there to make about 47 regular tacos or about 65 street tacos. Man, I'll tell you, those are delicious. We had some the other day, and this stuff really makes great tacos. So if you're in the mood for a good Mexican meal, Barbacoa is the way to go. Well, there's your barbacoa, all ready to be scarfed up. It is super delicious, and the house just smells wonderfully, like I said earlier. So enjoy, and I hope you enjoy the recipe, and hope you make it soon. I think you'll really like it. Thanks again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy this barbacoa recipe. So until next time, this is Rick at my Idaho cabin.